Before we get into the episode, we want to take a moment to address the June 24th Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. This decision stripped away the legal right to have a safe and legal abortion. Restricting access to comprehensive reproductive care, including abortion, threatens the health and independence of all Americans. This decision could also lead to the loss of other rights. To learn more about what you can do to help, go to podvoices.help. We encourage you to speak up, take care, and spread the word.
Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Warning. The following podcast may occasionally contain strong language and material that is not suitable for all ages. If you are easily offended, it is highly advised that you turn back now. However, if you're a degenerate, welcome, brethren. You've found your home.
Welcome to the Crime Diner. We're a Jersey podcast, and on the menu is a variety of true crime, cults, mysteries, historical hilarities, and sometimes victim stories. We do this within a Dinner with Friends theme. I'm Nidia.
I'm Dana.
I'm Cindy.
Last week, I told you the story of Princess Caribou and her interesting identity. And I fucking love that story. I love a woman trying to just get by in life. You know what I mean?
A scam artist?
A scam artist, if you will. I'm here for a scam artist. Don't scam me, but like, if we're scamming like the elite rich people of 1800s England, like, have at it. Who cares?
I have a little scam artist story later on.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. No, it's not my story.
Okay.
This week, I'm going to talk about a home improvement story that went way wrong.
Oh, like the money pit?
Yes, like the money pit, okay. But like if the money pit was your next door neighbor.
Uh-oh.
Yes. And I usually give more details about my story, but trust me, you're gonna want to hear this.
All right.
It's all of that.
I'm gonna tune in.
But first, the food. Let us pray. Bless us, O patrons, for these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy donations through Patreon every month under the power of the V podcast.
Cult.
It is pizza.
Pizza.
So it's actually flatbreads.
Mm-hmm.
But I used the flatbread to make these. You got a caprese, you got a mushroom and peppers, and you got a bacon with gorgonzola and shallots.
I want one of each, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Oh my God, it smells so good.
What's that over there?
That's another one.
That's another one of the bacon. And I figured that was going to be a popular one.
So nice. She made it twice.
What are we drinking?
We're drinking an IPA, and it's called Raging Bitch. It's by Flying Dog Brewery.
It's Dana's namesake.
How dare you? It's got like this like mad rabbit looking dog on the bottle.
And my thinking was home improvement. When you're improving the house, you go with the quickest food that you can get, which is takeout.
Yes.
So pizza. And
pizza and beer.
And pizza and beer go together. And
good point.
That's it.
Is this story going to piss me off because we're all doing home renovations right now?
It caused me a lot of anxiety.
Perfect. Love that for us.
Yes. Just wait.
Oh, great. Nothing like you to come ruin my fucking day.
It's a story of madness.
Oh my God. All right, let me eat first then.
Yes.
What do you think about flatbread pizza?
I mean, she gave us so many choices.
So many choices. All of the choices.
Which one was your favorite?
The peppers and mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine was the bacon gorgonzola. Mm-hmm. Second was the one with the tomatoes on it. What was that, a margarita pizza?
Margarita, caprese, whatever you want to call it.
But what was under the cheese and the pepper one? There was something sweet in there.
So here's the trick I used. I went to ShopRite and they have flatbreads. It's mascarpone and garlic flatbreads. And I just bought 4 of them and then I topped them with pizza toppings.
Oh.
So
it tasted like there was like cheese, like a cream cheese. Like I guess mascarpone. Like
it's
I guess
mascarpone.
Like it was like this weird little punch of sweetness that kept. That's why I really liked it. I mean, I love peppers and onions and mushrooms on my pizza. Like, if I'm not going to get a pineapple and ham, which I do love, fuck off.
Really?
Love it. It's my favorite.
Oh, you're gross. Get out of here.
Fuck you. I usually get peppers and onions on my pizza. Or just cheese, plain. But there was, like, this little, like, pop of sweetness that kept happening. And I was like, is it cream cheese? Like, what is that? But it was really delicious.
Yeah, it was mascarpone.
Yes,
Wow.
please.
I just found out that me and Dana are incompatible in friendship.
Podcast is over.
I mean, the podcast is just done. This is the last episode. Dana likes ham and pineapple pizza.
Love it.
I just can't.
I love it. It's like
I feel like I never knew you.
when we were kids, it was the only pizza we got.
What?
Yeah, like we would get like 2 pizzas and they would have pineapple and ham all over them.
Oh, the fucking social services.
So bad for you.
No, I love it.
They missed the fucking case right here.
I had one recently that had and this, if pineapple and ham is controversial, this sort of threw me for a loop.
What?
There were maraschino cherries on this pizza I had the other day. And I was like, that's but maybe a step too far. I wasn't mad at it, but I was not expecting it. I was like, what is the red thing? And I was like, it's a fucking maraschino cherry. I was into it. I dug it.
I've got to say, Nydia's blocking this out, I think, because it's an ex. But one of her exes, ex-boyfriend, used to get the pineapples and ham and put ketchup on it.
Oh, fuck you. Ketchup on pizza is just an abomination. I'm sorry. Pineapple is debatable, but like ketchup on pizza is absolutely
All of that
not.
is call the police. Yeah.
I fucking love pineapple on pizza.
It's at least 4 days in prison.
No, I don't think so. It's so good. It's like a little pop of sweetness. Anyway, I love it. I really like the pineapple. I mean, I'm sorry. And I got pineapple on the brain. I really like the peppers and mushroom one because of the little sweetness. I like the gorgonzola one. It just wasn't my favorite. And the tomato was like fresh and like sweet and delicious.
So, top for you was peppers.
Yep.
Second, tomatoes, the caprese. And the last was the gorgonzola. So
yeah.
the direct opposite of mine.
Yes. And honestly, I think this is why we're friends.
That checks out, yeah.
Because, like, there weren't a lot of good things about my marriage, but, like, there were times where I was like, oh, I think we were actually meant for each other because, like, I liked the butt end of the cheesesteak and she liked the middle end of the cheesesteak, and, like, we like the opposites of things that, like, it made it nice to share food, which really is, like, all I'm looking for in a relationship. Hence the reason it lasted as long as it did.
Right, so you ate the burger, she ate the pickles.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I think that's why you and I have remained friends all these years.
And we all know how her last marriage ended.
Yeah, tragic.
So our friendship is going to end tragically over food.
Never mind. Never mind.
Her thinking is at least she doesn't depend on you for everything.
or anything, really.
Right. So I told you that I had a little story about a scam.
Princess Caribou, yeah.
Right. Well, not Princess Caribou,
Right.
but, along the same genre.
Right.
This is very different from Princess Caribou, but it's still a scam.
Okay, let's hear it.
So David's grandma gets a call from presumably David. And it's a weepy voice, and he's like, the person on the other line is like, Grandma, I just got into a car accident.
Oh my God.
I hit a pregnant woman. She's in critical condition.
Oh my God.
I'm hurt. I'm in the hospital, but I'm going to get arrested and I need bail money. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing. And the person on the other line says, don't tell mom and dad. And even though me and my ex-husband are divorced, we're still very much co-parents. Like, we just don't sleep in the same bed, but we are parenting the shit out of that child, right? So grandma is like, okay, I'm going to get the money. They wanted $8,000 or something. And she's like, okay, I'm going to get the money. And I guess she was given an address or whatever,
Oh
right?
my God.
But in the time that she was like, oh my God, I got to get this money together, she got it in her head to call the prosecutor's office. And so she called and asked, and they were like, yeah, we've never heard of such a thing. Like,
oh my God,
this
thank
person's
God.
definitely not arrested or whatever. Whatever the fuck it is that she did, because I didn't get the whole story. So she calls David David calls her, like, that same day for whatever reason. David calls her, and because he was going to go see her. Because she just lost her husband, and she's by herself.
Yeah.
And you know, and she's elderly. She's like 80.
Yeah.
So he calls her just to check in on her, and she's like, oh my God, how are you? And he's like, fine, Grandma. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, what do you mean? Aren't you still in the hospital? Aren't you, like, you know, getting ready to be transferred into the jail or whatever? And he's like, no.
Oh my God.
So then she tells him, and he's like, Grandma, first and foremost, let's get this together. If I was ever in a situation, I would always call Mom and Dad.
Yeah, really.
I would never call you and bother you. It would always be Mom and Dad, no matter how bad it is, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. But also I wanted to hear the rest of the story.
Yeah.
And so she was like, really gonna fucking cover for him.
Yeah.
And I was, as David was telling me, I was like, damn, your grandma, you know, snitch.
My Nana would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
She would have totally freaking
My Nana would have fucking bought that shit hook, line, and sinker, and she would have wired that money. She wouldn't ask the second question. She'd have done it.
Yeah.
If I needed money.
But I'm like, damn, your grandma loves you so much that she would have buried a body for you.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. My grandma's the same way.
She would take the blame for a crime for you.
When my grandmom signed for, she signed for Gage's loan for school.
Yeah.
You know, Gage called her and said, you know, can you go sign for my thing? Yeah, I'll be dead by the time you're done school. Don't worry about it. I'm like, Dad, don't say that.
It's a good scam. Yeah. It's a good scam.
Honestly, in your case, Dana, I can see why your grandmother would buy that hook, line, and sinker, knowing you with all your stories as a child and teenager.
First of all, time out. My grandmother doesn't know any of that. My grandmother thinks I'm a fucking saint. Aside from the lesbian thing, which honestly I don't even think she gives a shit about. Like, straight up came to my wedding, didn't give a shit. Like, drug my pop-up along with him. Now, I will say that I'm not sure my pop-up knew that I was marrying a woman. Because my wife was a little, like, you know, a little butchy. And my pop-up is not great vision. And her name is Way. Right. But my pop-up always called her Ray. And so I'm like, I'm not 100% sure that she didn't know, or he didn't know that I married a man.
And you never corrected him?
Never, no. Because, he has all these sheds in his backyard. He has all these like weird sheds. And so she would go fishing and crabbing and stuff. And which, you know, to my pop-up is like, that's a man thing, you know? And so I guess they were talking about fishing lures, and he like used to melt his own metal and make like little weights or whatever. And he like took her out into the shed and they made these weights or whatever. And like she would bring the fish and he would skin them for her. So like I'm like kind of convinced that he like thought it was a man. Like truly. Because he was like really nice to her. So I'm like, I mean, no, we never corrected him. Ever. He like came to the wedding and like was like really nice about it.
Wow.
It was very funny.
Yeah,
we were just like, yeah, this actually works for us.
That's really funny. Hey, listen.
Hey, it is what it is, you know?
You make do.
That's right.
So, we have a new patron.
We do. Their name is Andrea, and thank you for joining us.
All right, Andrea, I see you.
Yes, and if you, dear sweet listener, would like to join us at Patreon, we have made it very reasonable for you to do so.
If you want to support us,
yeah,
in a level where you're our sugar daddy,
honestly,
or mama,
that's all I'm looking for in life.
Yeah, I mean, we want to quit our jobs and do this 100% of the time.
Yeah. Why don't you make that happen for us? Like, what are you guys doing?
It's just $5 a month.
It's just $5.
Or even $2 a month.
It's not even that much to ask for, really, if you loved us.
Right.
This is how I try to get money out of my dad. I'm like, don't you love me? And I was like, go away. Be like my Nana. She would give me $5.
It's just $5, for God's sakes. I mean, what does $5 buy you anymore, honestly?
It's one less Starbucks a month.
A gallon of gas? Maybe.
Damn. Don't remind them.
I'm sorry.
Gas prices are going down now.
A little bit, yeah.
Are they?
Thanks,
yeah,
Obama.
They are.
I'm just kidding. What'd you say? Thanks, Obama.
We also had Janice, who supported us through Buy Me a Coffee. She bought us a whole 9 coffees,
She
bitch.
bought us a whole, what's that, like a box of wine maybe?
We're going to be awake for days.
She came through.
She came through, Janice. Janice came through. And I'm going to read what she wrote about us. Because she didn't just buy us some coffee. She fucking worshipped at our feet.
Yeah.
My God.
She says, love your podcast, especially the chat. This one's for you, Janice. You are fabulous at making me feel like part of the party, the food, the repartee. I love that word. I'm even learning about wine. LOL.
She must be in the
Janice.
beginning of the podcast. She started
Janice.
from the beginning.
Simply no. You don't learn about wine on this podcast.
Yeah. You might learn that it's peppery.
I have to slow down a bit when the stories get gory. I'm sorry. That feels like a dig at me.
We know who that's about.
Loved the Night Witches. Everybody loved that episode.
We
Dana.
love the Night Witches.
The mysteries and secrets are my favorite. So she goes on to say, stories about torture and details about how horrible people can be to each other. Let's just say, I appreciate when you give your warnings. I have been telling everyone I know about you and will be listening as long as you keep broadcasting in whatever form the future brings. See, Janice understood the assignment.
That's right. That's right. We've been yelling into the void for weeks about this. And
for weeks, for 2 years.
Yeah. Fine, fair enough. And Janice came through. So did Andrea. So let's toast them.
Here's to those who have seen us at our best and seen us at our worst and can't tell the fucking difference.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's literally every listener we have.
We scam everyone.
So, you may have noticed over the last couple of months that Nydia and I, we kind of like drag.
We do.
We like
really
drag
do.
queens, yeah. So, I have decided, while I love RuPaul's Drag Race, it's my favorite thing, I would like to support local queens. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there are fucking drag shows everywhere. Mm-hmm. In, like, every town, all over the place, all around here. And, like, you don't have to go all the way to your nearest big city. Like, they're everywhere. So I've just been, like, really trying to get involved, like, in my local community. I've been trying to, go to protests that are within my county and meet people who are more like-minded, that live a little closer to me, because some of the protesting that I've done has been closer to work, or some of the, queer things have been not really within my community. So anyway.
Dana's trying to enact change right in her little circle. And that's what everybody should do.
Yes.
Take your little circle.
Yes.
And be the best person that you can be within that circle. And if everybody did that, it would be a better world.
So somebody once said to me, over the last couple of years since the world has been falling apart, that, like, just hypothetically speaking, if everything falls apart, say the grid goes down and we don't have access to, like, gas, we can't travel, like, the people who are going to help you are going to be the people who are in your vicinity. So, like, we need to build connections with these people, right?
Right.
And also, I don't feel like I have enough, like, queer connections. So anyway, I found drag shows. So I've been going to some drag shows locally, and I was finding so much joy there. Like, you just have no fucking idea. And so I went to a drag show the other night. I went initially for Pride and had so much fun. And then I went again the other night. There is this local drag queen there who happens to know a friend of mine. So I guess the drag queen, like, felt a little bit comfortable to, like, just be funny.
Right.
And so, like, the show, the way the room is set up, it's, like, really thin, and there was, like, a lot of people in there, and her name is Tanae. Anyway, the queen, her name is Tanae. And so she couldn't get down to, like, they walk around the room and they collect money and you give them money and they sing to you and it's so fun, whatever.
Right.
And so she couldn't get to me. So I was, like, holding up money to, like, give her money. And so she was, like, basically, like, waved me over. Like, bitch, just come up here and give me the money. Like, I'm not coming to you. So I go up there. And she's, like, singing to me at the stage, and she takes my fucking head, which I would never allow anyone else to do, takes my fucking head and just mushes me to the ground and starts, like, dancing with my face in her vagina. And I was like, everybody was, like, screaming. It was so fun. And so at the end of the night, we like go to leave and my friend is saying goodbye to her and she like came up to me and was like, I hope that was all right. I'm like, girl, you have not lived until a drag queen pushed your head in their vagina. Like, I just fucking love this so much. I had so much fun. And
she was serving fish and you were at a buffet.
Not everyone knows what that means, just so you know.
So serving fish.
Yeah.
I'm going to translate that for you.
Mm-hmm.
When a queen is serving fish, she is very femme.
Yeah, very pretty.
Very femme, very pretty. And so if she's serving fish,
yeah,
she's
very feminine, very pretty.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw a TikTok the other day that was explaining the use of the term stud. Okay, I'm not sure if this is like a big thing in the lesbian community that like lots of people use the word stud, meaning like
to refer to a butchy femme.
Yes,
I mean
a butchy woman. Yeah.
Okay,
but specifically like a butch woman who is a person of color. Mm-hmm. A lot of white people call themselves studs, but they're not. Like they shouldn't be using that word. It's like it's this whole fucking thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, this person was explaining the origin of the word stud and why you should and shouldn't use it, and in the ways that you should use it. And she explained that that fish is like the opposite of stud. Like, so those are the two. And so like, if you're somewhere in between, you know, there's other words, but it would be like stud, then femme, then fish. Like, so, but the person who was explaining it was like, I don't think fish is used anymore. I'm like, oh, you don't know nothing about drag queens. They say that shit all the time, right? But we're at the show, right? And the way the restaurant is set up, it's like a bunch of like little tables. There's a stage, and then there's like a long bench. And people can sit there, and then it's like a table. You know, it's because it's also a restaurant, which the food is so fucking good. But anyway, I digress. These young people were there. These young fucking kids ruining the party for everybody. They were like 20-something. And they were eating dinner. And so the queen that's like there to raise money, she's going to go on to this continental competition. And she has this beautiful crown. The whole point of the show was to raise money for her to go to this competition.
She's a pageant queen.
She is a pageant queen.
Okay.
Her name is Jenna Tall. And she look her up on Instagram. She's very good. She's beautiful. It comes out, does her first number, and everybody, you know, you give them money, like, you know, $1, $2, whatever, for every song. This whole table of like probably 10 or 15 people, like a long table.
Young kids.
In their 20s, certainly. Old enough to drink, but like not old enough to know better. They didn't tip her at all. And she's like, you know, performing. You know what I mean? So she goes right up to the table after her number, and she's like, how's this table doing? And they were all like, good. She's like, good, I hope you brought some money. And I was like, oh my God. These fucking kids paid their bill and left. And didn't.
They never tipped her.
No.
What?
And I was like, I'm sorry.
Can you imagine if they were part of the Christian coalition and they didn't know that it was drag night?
This Jenna Tall fucking called them poor the whole time they were paying their bill. Okay, poor people, get out of the table.
No.
As they were getting up, they're like, clean the table so real, you know, people can sit in there. She ripped them the whole time, and I was like, honestly,
were they laughing or was it uncomfortable?
No, it was uncomfortable. I mean, it was not uncomfortable for the people who like understood what was happening, but it was uncomfortable for them, absolutely. And then when they left, the whole restaurant like applauded. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy,
dude.
It was wild. She like was like
probably had no idea that it was that like, you know.
I mean, there were like
night.
When you walked in, there were drag queens walking around. Like it was not like there were drag queens. Fucking 6'4" with tiaras on their fucking head, walking around. Bitches were doing death drops. Okay, like shit was like it was real. Like
not the death drops.
Yes, they were doing death drops. They were doing cartwheels and shit. Like it was a show. They put on a fucking show.
Wow,
it was crazy.
Damn.
She was like, get the poor people out.
When people were clapping as they were leaving, what was their faces like? They
just like scurried out of the restaurant. And then like two people like wandered in, and there was like a straight couple, and she was like, hey, there's straight people here. Okay, straight people.
Like, did they pay?
Yeah. They were tipping and like,
wow.
You know, I think they did actually wander in. It was very funny, but it was, you know, it was what it was. But they, like, participated and, like, were part of the... There was, like, older people there, and the guy was, like... You know, because they call people onto the stage and have them do a lip sync for their life. It's so fucking funny. And he brings this, like, fucking 60-year-old white guy. And was like, is that your wife? And he was like, girlfriend, whatever. And she was like, how long have you guys been together? And he was like, 16 years. And she was like, what the fuck is wrong wrong with you? She was like ripping the audience the whole time. It was so funny.
So he hadn't married her?
No, and then he was like, and don't marry this scrub anyway, 16 fucking years, and blah, blah, blah. It was so funny. Like, it was really, really, it was such a good time.
Oh, I'm glad.
Anyway, I'm having so much fun at drag shows. And, like, I'm a little disappointed because I thought you were going to come.
Okay, so let me just get this straight. Let's have dessert, and then I'll tell you why I haven't gone.
All right. Viennetta. I didn't even know they fucking made that anymore.
So there's a story behind this. So obviously I had made that before and I failed at making it.
Yes.
That one time. So I was at the grocery store and I was adding my coupons into my app because savings. And I saw Viennetta as one of the coupons. And I am like, what?
Where?
They're not doing enough advertising.
Yeah, really?
So I ended up finding them at ShopRite.
Wow.
And I had to buy them because, of course, after you're done doing demo and home improvement, fuck all the way off with making anything. And let's hit up the ice cream truck because this is made by Good Humor.
It is.
And so we get Viennetta on the fancy side.
Now, do you see how she logicked herself out of cooking us dessert? You see what she did there?
And dinner, too.
No, I made y'all dinner.
She bought a flatbread and added some toppings.
She logicked herself out of making us food this week. And I kind of respect it. I'll allow it.
Also, y'all tore up those flatbreads. So,
They
don't
were
judge
so
us.
amazing.
I didn't just give you the flatbread.
I already have the bubble guts.
I know, you're going to have to tell your story, girl.
So there you go.
All right, let's have it. I fucking love Viennetta. I never had that shit when I was growing up, ever.
Yeah.
I don't think the boy was impressed.
Let me just tell you a little bit about Viennetta. This is the first time I've ever had Viennetta.
Yeah.
And it was always like an intriguing thing. You know, it was like what the other side of the tracks
It was
ate.
like, yeah, Grey Poupon. Like, I had never had that either.
I mean, in my little 8-year-old mind, Viennetta was like a rich people's dessert.
Absolutely.
And you had to be at the upper echelon, you know what I mean, of income.
Yeah.
And I just had some, and I was like, this is basically frozen Cool Whip and that hard shell.
Yeah. The
Just
hard shell hot
little
chocolate.
layers of hard shell. This is like literally nothing. This felt like poverty melting in my mouth.
I don't hate it. I would never poo-poo
No,
it.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But if you've had Ben and Jerry's, if you've had
It's no Ben. It's
Talenti,
certainly no Ben and Jerry's.
if you've had any of these like gourmet small pint
Hold on.
ice creams,
You know what? Now that we've had this pineapple situation just happen, what's your Ben and Jerry's flavor?
I don't really buy Ben and Jerry's. I buy Talenti.
What's your Ben and Jerry's flavor?
I think Ben & Jerry's mixed in its American Dream Cone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I like their like cookies and cream. It's like basic. I like their basics. I don't like go.
I
you
like
know,
half
crazy.
baked. Go figure.
Which one's half baked?
It's like got half cookies and cream and half brownie pieces, and it's mixed
I've
together.
had that before.
That's my favorite
Yeah,
one.
I've had that before.
I
I
like fish
don't.
food is good too.
Which one's fish food?
Fish food has like the hard fudge pieces of like fish.
See, I've had lots of Ben and Jerry's. Not enough where I remember their name and keep going back to it. But there's this ice cream company called Talenti, and
Yeah.
they have like
That's like the expensive ice cream, right?
I love it. I have it in my fridge right now.
Yeah, I
it's
don't-
so good.
yeah, it's expensive, but it's like so worth it. It's like a really rich cream with pieces of actual like ingredients, like not actual ingredients, but like if it's apple, like my favorite's apple pie, and it'll have like actual pieces of apple pie in it.
It literally tastes like you're biting cold
Yeah.
apple pie.
So that's how there's this little ice cream place by my job that makes those ice cream sandwiches. They're called Peace Pies, which is like a very like there's like 3 of them in the world, you know, and they are like they're pie flavored. Most of them they started out pie flavored, but their apple pie ice cream is like it tastes like you're biting into an apple pie ice cream bar. Yeah,
I've got to say my all-time favorite flavor from Talenti. They don't even make any more. It was their chai. Oh, It was so good.
Really? I'm not a fan of chai. And the amount of tea I drink, you think that I would be a fan of chai? Not for it. Don't like it. It feels like too much.
Okay.
It's like you're trying way too hard to be tea. Settle down. I just don't like it. Well, I was going to say that my son came in and got pizza and ice cream. And he gave a very rare, coveted hug to Cindy.
Oh my God.
Because he did sort of make fun of her a little bit.
He basically told me how I phoned it in about dessert today, and he's like, "How dare you? Isn't that your only job?"
But he was not impressed by, how fancy we said Viennetta was. He was like, just not impressed with it.
Yeah, because it's made by Good Humor now.
Yeah.
It used to be made by Breyers, so I have a feeling the flavors probably aren't what they once probably used to be.
Well, now I feel like I got gypped. I wish someone would have given me Breyers back in the day.
We were all gypped right now.
But I'm not poo-pooing it. I thought it was fine. And
It was fine.
The kid ate the whole bowl of it that you handed him, so it couldn't have been that bad.
The kid, we all did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I scraped my bowl. You're like putting your headphones on. Like, settle down. I have 2 bites left. So spill the beans. Why won't you come with me to a drag show?
Well, it's not that I
friend.
wouldn't come with you to a drag show, but you asked me on a night where I was in full manic mode.
Oh, okay.
So I have this fun little thing where I become obsessed with, like, I'll be sitting and everything's fine. My house is fine. My house is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I notice that I get, like, I'll be sitting and then I'll be like, oh, I don't like the way that looks. And so I'll start a demo. I'll literally take my house apart and put it back together. And I'm a little bit handy. And so I will put in cabinetry and trim and drywall and plumbing. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? I hate this so much. But I'll do it and I'll finish the whole fucking thing down to the last nail.
I'm not sure if you remember a couple weeks ago, and this may have been on Patreon, but you were like, I don't have anything to talk to my therapist about. I'm very sane and well, and I would like to admit to the court Exhibit A for your discretion.
Well, I will tell you that when I was seeing a therapist, which I stopped for a little bit, I just put her on pause because I'm really busy, and I'll go back to her.
Yeah,
But and she's very busy too. She's like she's Cindy's therapist, and she's just like very busy with Cindy.
Yeah.
Fuck all the way off. At least I'm visiting her, fully aware of my problems.
You're taking up too much of her time. So what I do, I told her, I said, I get into like these depressive states, and like not quite like bipolar where I'm like manic depressive, manic and then depressive.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. It's a milder form, but I do get manic and I do get depressive.
Yeah.
And so what I was telling her is that when I am building shit, when I am engrossed in a project that seems like I'm eating a giant elephant one bite at a time, it's therapeutic for me. I'll think through my problems, I'll think through my anxieties, and then it usually like makes me feel like a lot better.
Yeah.
So I take these like giant projects and I put on a lot on myself physically and mentally, right?
Yeah.
Because everything has to be perfect because I'm also a perfectionist. So I will go to bed and I will be like, I need to finish this trim. And I will wake up thinking I need to finish this trim. And I will wake up in the morning and not be done working until it is dark out.
Yeah, I mean, I really hate that for you. And I think what's going to happen next time that I invite you to a drag show, I'm not going to care what project you're doing. I'm going to come to your house and we're going to go. Because
I love drag shows.
I know, but I think that you need to like also live your life. Because
I have to be forced.
Yeah.
Because I won't go outside. I won't do anything. I'll just be hyper-focused.
I'm going to make you go next time I go.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what time it is and we're going to go.
Yeah, you just have to pick me up. Well, not pick me up, but
No, I'll
force
pick
me.
you up, yeah.
I won't go outside. Like it's bad. I won't do anything but that thing. If you notice that I'm absent from Facebook or just interacting from our loving public, from our fans, the three of you, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's like my SOS flag. Like, come and rescue me because I'm not okay.
Yeah, no, we can
I'm
tell
not
you're
okay.
not okay.
And the result is beautiful.
Right, but you're not actually, like, getting to, like, reap those rewards.
I'm not enjoying it.
Right.
And it's almost like my...
Well, it's definitely, like, I mean... I'm no therapist, of course, but like obviously it's a distraction. Like,
it's an escape.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's an escape. It's a depressive state. I am punishing myself. And the thing is, I have severe carpal tunnel in my right hand.
Yeah.
I have like no feeling in my like pinky and ring finger, and my index finger. I can't like fold it fully like I used to anymore.
Yeah.
My hand's all fucked up, and so I went to the doctor the other day, and the doctor was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, my two fingers, my pinky and my ring finger, lock up at night, and then I have to like physically straighten them out. And she's like, that's called trigger finger. And I was like, this is new. I've never heard of that. And also, those are not your trigger fingers.
No, I just think because it does that.
Yeah, it just like locks up on me.
Yeah.
And she was just explaining how like that's from overuse and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God,
yeah, but
being
like,
old sucks.
I've seen people, like, obviously I see people with that all the time, like their fingers. And like, it will get to the point where they won't straighten at all. Like, it'll stop being mobile.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like I'll massage people and you can't force it straight.
Bro.
Yeah, it's real. And like, they're just like this all the time. Yeah.
No.
Yes. And like, I'm not kidding you. I see it. I see that like at least once a week. Like,
Simply no.
Yeah, man.
I'm too young for all this.
Yeah.
bullshit.
So get your shit. Let's go to a drag show. Like, we're done with this.
Yeah, that's the cure.
Well, it's the cure is to get out and stop doing like hyperfixating on these things. Like, it's not the cure, right?
Yeah.
But like, it will help you.
I do hyperfixate.
And you'll have so much fun.
Oh, well,
You'll have so much fun. There's a queen there named Jenna Tall, okay? Like, come on. I mean, get your shit together.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, though. If you had, like, remember back like a few episodes ago, I mean, more than a few episodes ago, back when your kitchen flooded and you were like...
you mean months and months ago?
Yeah, months and months ago. I think like way back in February. You said that you were going to try to tackle this yourself because you felt like you can handle this project.
Yeah.
Looking at it now, hindsight being 2020, could you have handled that project by yourself?
You know, what threw me for a loop about that project was the mold. Right?
Yeah.
So if there wasn't mold there, could I have torn the floor up and, like, figured out how to lay vinyl, hardwood, whatever this is? Yeah. Fucking you do it. My sister did it. Like, yeah, of course I could do that. Would that have been the right move for me? Like, I don't know. I think I would have felt great if I could have figured that out. And, like, there's a lot to that. But this was, like, obviously it's still not done. Like, I washed my dishes in my bathroom sink yesterday. Like,
right.
This was, like, way outside my scope of practice. Could you have done it? Probably, you know.
Well, I could have done it. I could have totally done that.
Yeah.
But could you have done it? Also, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since, how many months are we into this now?
6, 7?
5 months?
Yeah. February,
5
March,
months,
April,
right?
May, June, July, 6.
Okay.
It's not going to be done till the end of the month, definitely.
Right. So if you would have done this based on looking on YouTube and like, you know, you would have had it done already.
Yeah, sure.
You would have had it done.
Yeah.
And just as well.
Yeah.
You would have had it done. The problem is that most people won't do that. And also the stress that it puts you under.
Right.
You'll feel like you're losing your mind.
Yeah.
You really would feel like you were losing your mind. So imagine if you didn't have YouTube and you were put in a situation where you not only had a kitchen to redo, you had all the electrical, you had the roofing, you had the plumbing, you had everything because it's like a gutted home, right?
Sure, yeah.
So that brings me to my story today.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yes. And it just was like when I first became aware that this story was out there, I was like, I had to like evil laugh, like cackle.
Really?
Because I was just like, I've been remodeling my kitchen and I've said it on other episodes. My kitchen is basically 4 rooms. A morning room where like an eat-in area, the cooking area, which is like the basic kitchen itself, the pantry, which is a separate room, that's a large room, and the laundry room, which is another large room that's where my dogs sleep and where I do my laundry, and it's like where it's a mud room where you walk in from the garage, right?
Right.
So it's like 4 rooms.
Sure.
So I've been taking it in phases. And I did the pantry. The pantry took me about a month. The laundry room was a bit quicker. It took me about 2 weeks. And now I'm moving towards the phase 4, which is my kitchen island. And I might tackle in phase 4 the kitchen island. I might also tackle the morning room. So that's what I consider phase 4.
Okay.
So I have to take it in bite size, you know? And I figure by September, by the time I'm ready to go back to work, I should be finished the whole project.
So you're not going to get to enjoy the summer at all?
I mean,
that's dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb, but like it's enjoyable to me at the end of the day. While I'm in it, I feel like I'm losing my mind.
It's not, though. It's not enjoyable to you because you're going to get done and you're going to be like, now I need to do my bathroom or some dumb shit.
I'm already thinking about the next thing. Yeah, it's a sickness, really.
It's a terrible way to waste your life.
It is.
The sun is a beautiful thing, friend.
I know. Well, you know what I've been doing, though? I have been laying out in the hammock in my backyard.
Okay.
And
I love
that's
that
like,
for you, yeah.
That's like I live in New Jersey. That's my favorite place in New Jersey.
Yeah.
My hammock, taking delicious naps.
From the
estate sale?
Yes.
It was the best $80 I have ever spent in my life.
Yeah, hammocks are the fucking best.
I mean, and me and Russ will sit out there, and Russ is a big boy, and it's a one-person hammock, and he'll lay in it, and I'll be like way raised up.
No.
We sleep in there.
I would sleep in there, 100%.
We go head to foot so that we both can fit in it.
Yeah.
We sleep in it. We watch TikToks in it. Just about the only thing we don't do is like have sex in that hammock because
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That feels dangerous.
It doesn't fit 2 people, but we make it work.
I went a couple weeks ago. My niece was camping, just where we went camping, like right next to where we went camping, and they had a hammock set up. When I went there to like hang out with them, we went kayaking, whatever. We didn't stay the night, but I just went to hang out with them, and I was like, ooh, a hammock, and I love a hammock, and I put my stupid ass in the hammock, and I was like, who hung this hammock up? And then the next thing I knew, I was laying on the ground. And I was like, why am I on the ground? And the girl, my niece, is like talking to this new boy. And I was like, you fucking did this, didn't you? And he was like, I'm sorry. My friend was laughing so hard. She's like, why the fuck would you get in a hammock with one of these morons hung up? I was like, I don't know. I just fucking thought. My tailbone hurt for like 4 days. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
But anyway, I love a hammock too, but now I test them a little stronger before I get it.
Well, this is a hammock setup, like
it's got the
thing. So anyway, it's like my favorite place in New Jersey, and I am perfectly content with the whole summer passing and me just laying in the hammock the entire
honestly,
summer.
See that behavior I support.
Yeah.
Remodeling your kitchen,
I feel super happy when I'm in that hammock and I stare up at the sky.
Love it.
And my backyard is super private.
Yeah.
And I'll listen to like a podcast or something. I'm in fucking heaven. That's like my favorite place in the world.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing lately.
Hi, this is Molly
and Cody,
the hosts of Over the Fence True Crime Podcast.
Please join us as we talk about true crime in the most normal place in the world.
Over the fence.
To be specific, over our backyard fence. We're both moms of humans and of dogs. We live directly next door to each other and share many conversations about life and family, but mostly true crime over our backyard fence.
And we invite you to come learn more about true crime and, well, us. We give a lot of attention to California true crime, but have ventured throughout the U.S. and even across the pond and plan to continue our world domination in the near future.
Listen to us wherever you listen to your podcasts, or give us a follow on Instagram at overthefence_podcast. So grab a drink and talk with us.
Over the Fence.
I chose this story because of the manic and the crazy and the fucking obsessive nature of Home Improvement.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah.
All right, so let me get started with my story, shall we? All right, so there's not a lot about this story out there. Basically, I got the story from James Patterson, Murder Thy Neighbor, which was a thing that they did with Investigation Discovery. It was like a show. So I saw the show, and then I was like, oh, shit. And then this is it's a true story, but James Patterson, which I love, he did a book
Murder Thy
Based
Neighbor.
on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's actually 2 stories that are in there, but this story is one of the stories, and I was like, oh.
Okay.
God.
All right.
So anyway, it was fitting. And I also looked at newspapers and stuff, but I didn't take anything out of the newspapers because the James Patterson thing, I just read the stories and I was like, okay, that's in the book.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just collaborated that way.
Okay.
Corroborated that way. So Ann Hoover was a strong-minded, independent woman who had a passion for music and she had an idealistic personality. She worked in marketing and gave piano lessons on the side. She also raised money for the Pittsburgh Symphony. In the 80s, she bought her first home in the up-and-coming neighborhood of North Hills Estates in the Oakland section of Pittsburgh. So we're talking about Pittsburgh, PA, right near us. Not very near us, but
6
near
hours
us.
away.
Yeah. Can you say gentrification?
Are you sure I can?
Yeah, that's...
Can I spell it? That's a different question.
So this is basically a gentrification story.
Okay.
You know, whether you feel positively or negatively about that. They took a neighborhood in decline and they were coming in and fixing the houses and bringing up the property values and whatnot. Yeah. So she buys this house and it's run down. It's a rundown row home and she buys it for a song because, you know, they're just... giving them away. Yeah. And it just really needed so much work. So Anne, being an able-bodied young woman, decided to save money and do some of the work herself. She stuck to things that she could handle, like painting and drywall and installing floors and stuff like that. The rest of the work she left to the professionals. Her house was beautiful, and the only thing that she hadn't finished was her front porch, and that was because since she was attached to another... to the next house, you know, she needed permission from the other owner, and the other house had not sold. You know? Okay, so you picture it. She's a duplex, like attached to another home. Right. You know, like Cindy's situation, you know, where she's attached to another house. Right. A side by side duplex. Yeah, a side by side. But this is not a side by side duplex. This is a row home. Okay. You know, so she's connected like a bunch of them. Right? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I would say, like in my case, we built up our porch and all of that, and it didn't affect the other side. Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. Right. So her house shared a porch, a basement, and a roof, and it was separated by a foundation wall to the next house. You know? The house next door had not had any buyers in all the years that she had lived there. She had lived 10 years there or whatever, never had another buyer. And it was very run down. Anne wished someone would someday buy it and fix it up. But be careful what you wish for. It just might come true. And that's just what happened. So the city of Pittsburgh had been trying to unload some of its tax delinquent properties, and they usually do this by holding an auction. These homes are bought sight unseen and usually for cheap because they are in need of rehabbing. Yeah. So here we have, you know, foreclosed homes or whatever, and if they go to auction based on tax liens or whatever, you have to buy it without going in and looking at it. And then it's up to you to evict a person if there's somebody living in it or rehabbing it or anything, but you're not allowed on the premises.
Until it's yours or?
Until it's yours. Okay, right.
Yeah.
So you don't know if there's plumbing issues. Right. You know, you just know that it was an abandoned home, right? Roy Kirk was a young man, barely 30, and he had the ambitions of flipping homes for a profit. Okay. You know, the flipping a home is like, you know, you buy a house cheap and it's rehabbing, you fix it, and you sell it for more. The prior year, he had been delivering pizzas, and now he had his contractor's license and was excited to become a real estate mogul. So he had these ideas in his mind that he was just going to fix them in and out, you know, easy peasy. Yeah. Roy had bought the house next door to Anne for $6,800 and planned to renovate the place all on his own to save money. Okay. $6,800. That's
that's no money.
That's no money. Yeah. But if the place needs a lot of work, you could be putting $100,000 into it. Sure. You know, to fix it.
But this is the 80s, you said, right?
Yeah, this is the 80s, but still, like, you're putting money into fixing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not cheap either. Yeah. All right, so when they first met, Anne really liked him, and she was excited to see that he was a contractor. Yeah. He was friendly and very, very energetic. Like, that was the one thing. Like, he was, like, buzzing like a bee, right?
Oh, God.
He was so excited and enthusiastic that she got caught up in his fervor. Like, he was just, you know...
He hyped her up.
Infectious with how hype he was, right? She liked him so much that she invited him to a neighborhood association meeting. She was part of this, like, neighborhood beautification, you know, meeting, like a HOA, but for the whole neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
The neighborhood association was a group of individuals that wanted to make the North Hills Estates a great neighborhood. Like, they wanted to keep up their property values. They wanted to make
the neighborhood great again.
Yes, there you go. They all had red hats. They had high hopes for the area by improving properties and attracting social events. Their pie-in-the-sky ideas were for a park that would serve as a place where the community events could take place, such as Easter, visit with Santa, you know, just like a little community park. They wanted to really gentrify the shit out of this place.
Right, you put a nice park near a neighborhood where you're making the houses nicer, like it brings the property values up, sure.
Right, so the neighborhood association liked Roy and his energy, so they decided to make him president.
Oh, good.
Like, right away.
Yeah.
Roy had lots of great ideas, and he talked a good game about how they would go creating change.
How fast did they find out he was on coke?
You'll see.
Real fast, right?
Roy had listen, you have played this game before.
I have played this game before.
All right. Roy had 2 properties on Lawn Street.
Okay.
This is where Ann lived.
Okay.
One next to Ann and the house down the block where he actually lived. The property next to Ann's house had no utilities. And so Roy only worked when there was enough daylight coming in through the windows.
Okay.
So this is where it becomes a problem, because if you're not of the East Coast and you don't know that once October rolls around, you are saying goodnight at 3 p.m. You know what I'm saying?
You're starting to, certainly.
You're starting to wind down at 3 p.m. because it gets dark after 3.
Yeah, by 5 o'clock
by 5 o'clock it's like midnight.
Yeah.
The equivalent of midnight.
Yeah.
So Roy had a contractor's license, but it was clear he didn't know what he was doing.
Oh, no.
And to make matters worse, there was no YouTube.
No, there certainly wasn't. Yeah.
So
you had this old house on like fucking
if you
Channel
could catch
12.
It on PBS.
Yeah, right.
If you could catch it.
Oh, God.
Right. And the house was in tear down shape,
right.
You know? So Roy, being the man that he is, and there's many of you out there, he insisted on doing all the work.
Of course.
How hard could it be?
How hard could it be?
Fucker, I'm here to tell you. I put a fucking nail through my thumb the other day.
No.
Yeah, with a nail gun. And I was on the phone with Russ. We were texting. And I texted him. He was like, oh, good morning. How are you doing? Or whatever. And I had just put the nail through my thumb. So I said, oh, my God, I just put a nail through my thumb. And I was very matter of fact because it hurt. But I was like, fuck, there's a nail through my thumb. How deep did this go? I'm afraid to look at it, but I saw blood. And so he proceeds to tell everybody at work because he's working summer school, but I'm at home building shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, he repeated it to the people at work. He's like, how bad is it? And I'm like, oh, it's just through the meaty part. So it's through the meaty part. I can
see it. Yeah, that's disgusting.
It's through the meaty part. And it hurt like a bitch. But I was just like, if this is the worst of that, that I've gotten hurt. Because I work with power tools, bitch. Yeah. Like, I have a table saw. I have all kinds of shit.
My son's dad shot himself in the foot with a nail gun. Oh. It, went through his whole foot.
Dang, that sucks. That sucks, yeah. So
he's special.
Yeah, well, and I am too.
Yeah.
So at first, he was really cooperative with Ann.
Okay.
And when Ann wanted to do the last job on her list, which was to repair the front porch, remember she needed the owner's permission to do the front porch, he went along with the repairs.
Yeah.
Then he just fucking disappears.
Okay.
He disappears for a fucking whole month, right? He returns sometime in July. And he tells Ann that he's sorry he hasn't been working on the house, but he had been busy buying another house. His 8th house.
Oh my God.
Right. So Ann begins to panic because she knows that he's a fucking hack.
Yeah.
All right. So he's such a hack that he had to run electricity to the house next to Ann which still 2 months later had no utilities connected. So what he did is, since he lived down the street, he would connect a bunch of extension cords.
Oh my God.
And run it to this other house.
Oh my God.
I mean, bonehead, right?
Oh my God.
So, so that ought to tell you his level of expertise, right? So October rolls around and the rainy season starts. Because here in this area in the East Coast, if it's not cold enough for snow, it's fucking raining. It's raining a lot.
Yeah.
A big storm proves to be too much for Roy's house,
Extension
for the roof.
cords?
Well, for the roof.
Oh, okay.
And the extension cords, right? By this time, Roy has made no progress on the house or the neighborhood association. Because remember, he's president.
Yeah.
So he's made no fucking progress. Even though Roy is spending more time next door, nothing is changing but a decline in the property and Roy's mental health. Roy is officially over his head and drowning.
I can picture this.
Uh-huh.
This motherfucker is in tiny little jean shorts.
Yes, he is.
Right? He's got a tool belt on, but it's hanging off of him.
Uh-huh.
He's got a tank top on, but it's all dirty because he smokes cigarettes all day.
Uh-huh.
And he's got big Timberland boots with the socks, but he's
With the
wearing
high
real
socks.
shorts, real small shorts. And he's the roof's all fucked up, so he's straddling a 2x4, smoking a cigarette, hitting it, and he's listening to fucking Iron Maiden or Ozzy Osbourne or some shit. And it's just playing on this giant black. It's playing on this giant black boom box, with all the extension cords going all the way down to his house.
Yeah.
His hair is long but bald on the top. He's got a mustache.
Okay.
And he's a very distinct smell. And he always has a beer. He starts drinking beer at 7 o'clock in the morning. Then he smokes Marlboro Reds.
Okay. Wow.
In the soft pack.
That's uncanny. Except for he wasn't balding.
That's pretty close.
And he had a scruffy beard.
Scruffy beard, okay.
But he had the long hair.
Yeah, he definitely did. He wasn't bald on the top, though.
No.
He will be, don't worry.
So this rainstorm that comes to town causes a leak in Ann's house due to the poor condition in Roy's roof. Right?
Yeah.
And she is fucking pissed.
Yeah.
She has fucking hardwood floors that are just getting ruined.
Yeah.
And she's an uptight, piano player. Not to victim blame, but I'd be that person too.
Oh, yeah.
So she goes over. She's trying to reach him. She wants him to fix the roof, and she wants him to fix it goddamn now.
Yeah.
But she can't reach him until the next day, right? When Anne finally sees Roy the next day, she comes to his, over to his side. She's knocking on the door, but the door's not closed because there's an extension cord. All right. So she, pushes the door slightly open, and she sees that inside it's 10 times worse than it was before he bought the place, right? Because he's
a mess.
A mess. Yeah. All right. And it's like if you gave a 2-year-old power tools and told them to go to town, right? But now it's wet and moldy. So Roy is not friendly towards her, and he dismisses her. And this is where when she tells him to get the roof professionally fixed, she's trying to be nice. She's listen, I have the number to a roofer. Mm-hmm. He'll probably come out here and mitigate the situation by putting a tarp. And when the storm breaks, when the rainy season's over, he'll come out and he'll freaking fix your roof for you, bitch. And that's all you really need to do, because the inside, you don't live here. So the inside, you can take time. But you gotta fucking fix that roof, right? He said, I'll fix it myself. And she's
that's so tough. See, I would never. That sucks.
And she yells at him at this point because he doesn't even have a ladder that reaches the fucking roof.
Oh my God.
And he kicks her out.
What is the law there? When you co-own a roof, with someone, just say, Cindy's situation where you both own the roof.
Right.
And, say your roof needs to be repaired, what if the other person doesn't have the money to pay for the roof? How does it work?
See, that's the difference between some of these properties is that I have done my own,
just my roof,
just my side.
Okay.
We've done our own roof. We've also done our own siding, our porch.
Right.
All
Like,
of
I know,
that.
you can see the, like, differentiation of the siding. Like, I get that, but, like, a roof to me seems like a solid one-piece thing. You know what I mean? But
There's a divider.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you
but that
kinda
wasn't
just
the
have to
situation with this.
Fold them in correctly, I guess.
See, but the
you could say.
thing is, like, when you're in a row home, or even in those situations, like the side-by-side homes, if the roof on the one side, water will do whatever it does.
Right, sure.
So if there's a leak, it can travel to
Absolutely,
your side.
yeah.
Absolutely, it can travel to
Yeah.
your side. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, I just wonder
it'll
what,
just
like,
take
the legalities of that is.
It'll take the water will take the least road of resistance,
Right.
and if it ends up in your side, it just is, right? Here's my suggestion: stop building houses that are connected to other houses.
Yeah, right,
You know what
definitely.
I mean?
Back when those houses were first put up, you know, they were put up in such a way to maximize the amount of people in such a small space. Like, it just
Right.
was what it was, you
Right.
know? So those,
But think about it: laws had to be created for two owners in one house and one roof, basically.
Sure, certainly.
You know
I mean,
what I mean?
I'm sure there's a law. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's, like, a way to deal with that, but
Yeah.
oh, fuck.
So he kicks her out of his place, and things are not good at this point because
Yeah.
she went over there in good faith.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, can you fix your roof? You know, I
Yeah.
have a number, and you know.
Yeah.
And he kicks her out.
Okay.
So she's now mad. So Anne begins to document and take pictures of the condition of Roy's house.
Okay.
Down the street at the house that Roy lived in, the conditions were different. The things there, he kept things neat and orderly.
Yeah.
Still, he had a lot of mice in cages. Like, he just had a lot of little critters. It was like he collected them.
Yeah, I mean, that tracks. That tracks for me.
He kept his place super clean, though. And since Roy didn't live at the other house next to Anne's, there was really no urgency for him to fix it.
Right.
At this time, Anne pushed to have Roy removed as president of the neighborhood association.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he had a shitty place. Like,
Yeah.
how are you going to be for the beautification of the neighborhood if your place is fucking shitty?
Right.
This pissed Roy off, and it was clear that their relationship was done being friendly.
Okay.
Like, the association voted him out
Yeah,
as
it's on.
president.
Yeah.
It was just like, ugh. So Roy's mental health was now starting to show signs of decline
Okay.
as much as the property. The house was full of trash now. It was looking like a landfill. And
This is
by
stressing me
November, rats were all over the place.
Oh, she's so mad.
Roy had grown a nasty beard, and his hair was matted, and he was skinny, and was starting to, like, spend all the time next door to Anne, but in the dark with no utilities, and it's winter.
Yeah.
He stopped showering, too.
Yeah.
He was starting to tell people that his neighbors were against him and that they were vandalizing his home. He was starting to have, like, paranoid thoughts.
Yeah.
Upon seeing the rats, Anne got the authorities involved. And when a city inspector as well as the health inspector came to investigate, they found Roy at fault and they fined him.
Okay.
I think he was fined like $8,000 or something.
Shit, more than he paid for the house?
Basically.
Shit.
So Roy becomes so enraged that he threatens Anne to back off or else.
Uh-oh.
To which Anne was like, all right, whatever, you know. So Anne, in one last moment, one final attempt at keeping peace, she offers to buy Roy's house.
Yeah.
For what he paid for it,
Yeah.
which was $6,800, whatever, right? But at this point, Roy is consumed with paranoid thoughts,
Yeah.
and he sees it as Anne's way of stealing the house out from under him.
Okay.
And he starts to say, "Oh, this is what this was all about. You know, you just wanted to
And
steal
honestly,
the house
like,
from me."
I could see how he would think that.
Right.
Like, even though that's not what happened, I could see how if you were, like, on the verge,
Right.
how that
Of having
very, very easily you could get to that theory.
right.
When you're unwell.
Right. I mean, think about it. He's really got no skills. He's faking it till he makes
Right,
it.
absolutely.
Probably has one home improvement book that he's going through.
Right.
And this house probably needed plumbing, wiring.
Yeah, everything.
fucking
Probably need to be
everything.
totally gutted.
Right. Totally gutted and rebuilt. He's by himself.
Right.
You're entering the winter months.
Right.
There's no utilities in the house. So it's like, the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
You know? You needed a team of people.
Right.
that are skilled at what they do to do this.
I mean, even worst case scenario, like you said, if he would have just fixed the roof, he could have left it for the winter.
Exactly.
Gutted it, whatever, and just left it.
Exactly.
Until...
He just needed to, and he didn't have the skills to fix the roof.
Right.
But he could have hired somebody to do it, right?
Right.
Especially since he was trying to buy an 8th home.
Yeah.
You know? It just sounded like he was more addicted to
the thought of it.
The thought of it and stuff. You know what I mean? Because you can, like, auctions are like gambling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like the high of like winning the auction. And it was like an auction kind of thing. I think he could have been addicted to the fucking actual collecting of these homes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Whether you flip them or not.
Right. You know? Yeah. Just the aspiration of being able to flip it, even though he didn't have the skill
Because the fact of the matter is, and especially back then, you know, when houses were so low, you know, you could buy one of those houses and do nothing to it and turn around and flip it. You know, like if you happen to get a good one that just like they lost the house because financial reasons, they didn't trash it, you know, like they were still living in it or whatever. It would stand to reason that you could get a house and not have to do anything to it. So you're right. There is a little level of like, ooh, this is a gamble. This is a bargain. This is a chance I'm taking.
Right.
You know?
And there were those infomercials where they used to be like, buy a house for nothing and, you know, and become like a fucking real estate millionaire just by flipping these
buy
houses.
this magazine and it'll tell you how to do that, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so, you know, maybe that's what he was like, you know, influenced by or whatever, right? So she goes over there. She offers to buy the house. He's like, what about with the time and energy that I put into fixing this house? You know, it was just not enough to, like, make an even break of it. And, you know, I think in his mind, in her mind, she thought she was bailing him out of, like, a deep hole, right? Anne sees that she's getting nowhere with him, and she decides to sue him. So the court date comes around. She sued him so that he would have to either go bankrupt and the house would go back to, you know, the bank or whatever. Or he would be forced to fix it. Because she figured if he had the money to keep buying these houses,
he must have the money
to fix it, right? So the court date comes and Roy shows up. And he's got a bandage on his head and a bandage on his leg. And he's in crutches. And he tells the judge that he's been shot in the head and the leg. The judge is like, wait a minute, did you report this to police? And he's like, no, the police, I don't trust them. Anne has turned everyone against me. And the judge, like, kind of rolls his eyes and is just like, okay, well, we're not going to listen to that today. Here, we're just for the house, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he also claims that his house was firebombed and never... Like, we're like, is it Molotov cocktails? Like,
what are you saying?
What are you saying?
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, after hearing all the evidence, the judge fines Roy $50,000.
Fuck.
And takes away his contracting license. And it's just like, Anne is like, ooh, I didn't want that to happen.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know?
I mean, how does that even help her?
How does that help him or anybody, really?
Yeah, like, that doesn't even, like, settle the situation.
Right, because now he can't even fix the house himself. And the judge was just like, I can't let you continue to have a contractor's license if you're going to leave the conditions like that.
Oh, my God.
Right. So Roy files an appeal. On March 24th, 1997, my birthday.
Oh.
The evening before the court appeal date, Roy had still done nothing to the house. Not a goddamn thing, right? But Anne notices that today he is working fervently in the basement.
Oh, no.
So Anne speaks to her neighbor and they arrange to ride together to the court in the morning, to the court together, you know, because Anne was like the star witness of the city or whatever. And so she's riding with other neighbors that are also affected. This is the last time anyone would hear from Anne ever again.
From Anne? Oh, fuck.
Yes. Hold on to your oh, fuck. Because it's about to get bumpy.
Oh, God. I thought he, like, blew himself up in the basement or something.
This is your warning.
Oh, fuck.
This is your stop. I just pulled the thing on the bus, on the public bus.
Appreciate it. Where do I get off?
Yes. This is your stop. All right. The next day, when the neighbors go to pick up Anne, they knock on the door and no one answers. At the appeals court, they just decide to go on without her. They're like, hey, maybe she already went there. You know, she was an eager beaver or whatever. At the appeals court, Roy and Anne are noticeably absent.
Oh, God.
And so the neighbors let the judge know that they're worried about Anne's well-being because they had just talked to her the day before and planned to ride together. The court sends police to Anne's house. When the police get to Anne's house, they knock and they get no answer. So they find a key and they let themselves in. You know, your hide a key is not really hidden, fucker.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that's a fake rock in your planter.
Yeah.
All right. So in the bedroom, they're looking around the house. There's nothing. I mean, she hadn't eaten breakfast. There were no dirty dishes. There were no signs of her having, her purse was there, her records, her court, like pictures, everything was there. So they go to her bedroom, and just outside her bedroom, like where her bathroom is, they find a spot of blood. So they go next door to where Roy, his door is open because the extension cord is in there. So they go in and, they knock on the door. There's no answer. They go in and the place is gross. There's trash everywhere as well as wet construction debris.
Ooh.
Yeah. Roy comes up from the basement looking confused, like he had just woken up. Like he's like scratching his head and he's like, what are you guys doing here? He's like, oh, that was today, because they're like, well, you didn't make it to court. You know? And he's acting like he's, like, oh, that was today. I totally forgot, right? He is only wearing some dirty ass khakis and a belt. No shoes, no shirt, no service. He tells the cops that he forgot about the court date and that he has no idea where Anne is. They look him over and they notice that his feet are covered in what looks like mud. So they ask him to step outside. Now remember, it's dark in there. They're only using the daylight of the March sunlight here in the East Coast, right? So they ask him to step outside with officers while they look around. And he's like, yeah, sure. I don't have anything to hide. Go ahead and look around. But indeed, he had shit to hide. Oh, fuck. He had the most shit to hide. All right? So outside, the onlookers, the neighborhood people, are shocked to see his deterioration. I mean, he just looks like a fucking zombie who had just punched out of a grave. Also, it's March. It's still fucking cold. He's got no shirt on and no shoes. And he's scruffy and skinny, and like his pants look like they're hanging off. They're hanging off of him. He's just gross. Outside, the officers notice that what appeared to be mud is blood. All right. Inside the house, the cops follow the cords, the extension cords, all the way down to the basement. As they start to go down the steps, they notice that the air smells moldy, but also like meat that's starting to go bad. So in the basement, they notice so many garbage bags and tools.
Oh, fuck.
And what looks to be like a mannequin with a wig and no arms. But it's never a mannequin. Fuck. It's never a mannequin.
Oh, that's fucked up, Nydia.
As they get closer, they notice the tools are coated in blood. And the officer runs outside and gives the arrest order.
Shit.
Yeah. Roy tries to escape, but he's quickly apprehended and cuffed. And then he starts to scream, "Kill me! Kill me, please! Kill me!" He keeps repeating that over and over again. So they put him in the back of a police van. And he continues to scream, "Kill me," and struggles, and he's just like, it's noisy. And then, as if giving up, there's silence. Like, he's just like, done struggling, right? Inside the basement was Anne's body, which had been cut in half at the waist. And her arms had been cut at the shoulders. Her limbs had been bagged already, so he had already bagged her up and put her on the bags. Like, that's why they thought it was a doll, because it was like on top of the garbage bags. When police get to his house down the street, because they followed the extension cord all the way back, they notice that the house is full of cages with rodents in them. And many of the cages were full of dead animals
full of maggots.
Oh, God, what the fuck?
Where he had stopped feeding them. The house was full of trash and porn and... I mean, just like a hoarder's home. Somebody that had just had a psychotic break.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yes. So they go up to the second floor bathroom and they notice that it's kind of clean in there.
Okay.
Like, compared to the rest of the house, it was like very clean. So they pull the shower curtain and inside the clawfoot tub
oh, no, don't ruin the clawfoot tub.
was an 8-foot python.
Oh, fuck.
So, detectives speculate...
When you said there was mice, I was like, there's got to be a snake. I mean, obviously, this guy is a fucking snake.
Yeah. But I left it. I was like...
I almost said he had a snake, too.
Right. So, detectives speculated that Roy had been cutting up Ann's body to maybe feed it to his python.
Shit.
Which would stand to reason, right? But the mice definitely were there for that purpose.
Yeah.
And he just kind of just had a mental break. And my theory is that he had some kind of, mental health issues prior to this. And he just became manic and started buying up all these properties and thinking that he had this skill to fix them, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he had some sort of mental break, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely
obviously, you don't
break.
fucking cut someone in half if
and if
you're doing real good.
In my home improvement journey, I've felt like I was about to have a mental break, but not to the point where I was going to use my power tools against anyone.
Right, yeah.
I mean, but I can see how if you are not equipped to handle, a big project, how that could freaking certainly
push you over
the edge, because there were many a nights where...
But this is different, because when you get into obviously you're talking about a hoarding situation, but you're also talking about a hoarding situation in that he is buying up multiple properties. That in and of itself is a weird hoarding situation.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's he was collecting pets.
Right.
He was, he had those tendencies, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But from what I read in the James Patterson book, he had a fiance, according to the book. And I can't go by the book too much because it's they're writing a story. Yeah. And I don't know how much they're embellishing. So that's why I didn't add it in my own report. I just stuck to the shit that I found in newspapers and stuff like that. So, according to the story, he had a fiance who he had confessed to having been institutionalized for obsessive compulsive disorder as a young teenager.
Okay. Which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, so I took it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But if that was true, it sounds like he had mental health issues in the past that could... he's in his
resurface.
He's in his 20s. That's usually when those types of things.
Is he only in his 20s?
Yeah, he's in his 20s or maybe just turned 30. And so these mental health things can tend to pop up in those at that time. But those stressful situations, if you have one house to fix, is stressful. But imagine 8.
Yeah, that's too much.
That would drive you over the edge.
That's too much.
And that's a time with no YouTube where you can quickly look something up if you get stuck.
I mean, you're pulling out your fucking Encyclopedia Britannica or something and trying to figure shit out. I mean, I don't even know where you would get information, you know what I mean?
I have home improvement books with the illustrations and shit that.
Yeah.
This old house.
Yeah, this old house. That's literally the only thing I can think of. I guess there must have been textbooks and things.
Time Life books.
Yeah, right. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It was truly the Wild West. You know what I mean? It's so funny. If you think of the progress that we've made in 100 years,
Have we though?
I mean, like, technologically. I don't mean progress, like, progress.
I mean, you have information. Let's say information.
Yeah, but I mean, even, like, technology-wise, like, when like, they turned on the light bulb for the first time.
Right.
You know, within 100 years, we have all of the information of the world in the palm of our hands.
That is true,
it's
right?
Not fucking... It's like... I don't think humans were supposed to, like, fucking advance so fast. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
It's too much too fast. Like, if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Jesus Christ, like... in the next 100 years, how much more advanced?
For all of time, we, like, slowly were, like... here is a wheel.
Yeah,
let's
like,
put
tick,
some.
tick, tick, tick,
Yeah,
tick,
let's
tick,
like we just like slowly like let's make the wheel wooden. Let's give it some spokes.
Right.
Let's let a horse drag it.
Right.
Let's put some rubber on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we were like, the world at the palm of your hands. Here, 8-year-old, have it. Like, you know? It's just like, it's really wild if you like really think about it. Not that that has anything to do with your story, but I'm just saying, like, you know, you're talking about a story, like, when I was a kid, this happened when I was a kid, when there was no internet.
Right.
You know, like, that's so...
Yeah, when we were kids, there was no internet.
Yeah, it's so nuts.
It's fucking... We are one generation removed from internet.
I mean, like, there was internet before our kids were born. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they are not a generation that would ever know. Like,
but I mean, I was pre-internet.
Yeah, I mean, I was pre-internet, and I'm way younger than you. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just, it is kind of, like, shocking how fast it happened, you know?
And, like, honestly, with YouTube, you can probably perform open heart surgery if you really had to.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
No, I think you could. You're right. No. But there's like that meme or something. There's like a meme where someone texts the wrong number and it's like a doctor, a med student, and he's like texting a doctor and he's saying like, oh, so-and-so, this patient has this thing, blah, blah, blah. And
this is like a residency kind of situation.
Yeah. And he's like texting a doctor, like a higher up doctor.
Right.
Like, oh, this patient has this, this, and this wrong. We don't know what to do. And they texted the wrong number. And whoever was on the other side, like, just Googled it. And we're like, oh, I think you have the wrong number, but I think you have to put a stent in or whatever the case was. And the guy was like, you know, the guy texts back, we actually did put a stent in and you found out in 10 minutes what, you know, 8 resident students couldn't figure out in 3 hours. And she was like, oh, word, y'all hired? It's like, the information is there. You know what I mean? Like, it's there. Yeah. But it sounds like
how fun it is for my doctor when I come in and I have my diagnosis
not fun.
And my prescriptions ready.
Yeah, they don't like that.
And I'm like, according to
WebMD,
I have this and this is what you should prescribe.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, let's talk about your symptoms. I swear to God, my doctor, she's blessed.
I went into urgent care one time and I was like, listen, a spider has hatched eggs in my ear. And the lady was like, I've never said this, but I guarantee you that's not what is happening here. And I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a spider in my ear.
Right.
And they've definitely hatched eggs. I can feel it when I go like this with my head.
When you
and she was like, yeah, like when I go back and forth. And she was like, before I look in your ear, I'm going to guarantee you there's not a spider in there.
She almost plays bets.
Yeah, she almost did. And alas, there was no spider. But I had certainly convinced myself that there was a spider in there.
Well, I'll tell you what. Russ went to the doctor and was like, I believe there's spiders in my ear. And the doctor was like, yes, absolutely. And they pulled a spider out of his ear.
Oh,
and then,
my fucking God.
like, I was done with him. I was just like, throw the whole man out.
Are you a ghost? Did you die? Because I would die.
Yep.
I was ready to die because I was like, either my inner ear has broken off and it's just hanging there because I could hear it. Like I could hear it when I was like turning my head. It was.
What was it?
I had a really bad ear infection. It was just like really swollen, but I could hear it moving around, and I was like, well, obviously, if it's not spiders, I'm dying. Like, there's no in between. WebMD says so. You have
ear cancer.
I've watched. Do you know how many videos I've watched of fucking doctors putting alcohol in the ear and like a giant fucking cockroach coming out of it?
Yes. No. No. Thank you. No.
Sir.
No. I would literally take a hot spoon and scoop my ear and part of my skull out.
Oh, all of it. I mean, the thought of losing a fingernail, like, makes me want to die. So, like, I almost would never go to the doctor if I didn't, like, have to.
Yeah.
I fully convinced myself I had fucking spiders in my ears. If there was a spider in my ear, I just can't. But it sounds like, I know, I'm like, I have to stop thinking about it because it's very upsetting to me. But it sounds like your guy just had the perfect storm, Roy, you know, losing a sense of reality or just being out of control and being, you know, above his, you know, head.
Literally.
And like this perfect storm of just
having that mental having mental health issues. Maybe not actively at the time when, everything started. Having those challenges and then being put into he put himself, but really putting yourself into a situation where you are now, triggered.
Right.
By this shit. He wasn't getting any sleep.
Yeah, and then having the courts just like pile it on you and
yeah, it's like a runaway train. But, in that case, she did offer to buy the place from him. But I think at that point, he was just so far gone.
Too far gone, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain part of that, too, where you're saying, in his head, it probably, especially if this was like the 80s, early 90s.
No, this was 97.
Oh, 97. I thought you said 87. But there's still that, like, very masculine, like, that probably must have been a little emasculating for him. Like, I could fix the roof, especially if you're like that kind of guy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fix the roof. Why would you tell me I can't fix the roof? You know what I mean? Right. And like, I'll pay for it, I'll pay for you, whatever, I'll buy the house. There's like that little like, what, you think I can't do this?
Yeah, it was almost like attrition, where like he's just like doing it just because he can. Absolutely, at this point, just to fuck with her at this point. All right, so to wrap the story up, right? The detectives thought that he was planning to feed Ann to the snake,
right?
And we may never know if that was real or not, because when the police van with Roy Kirk in the back, when the officers open the door, they see that Roy had hung himself with his belt, even though he had been cuffed behind his back.
In the car?
In the back of the police van.
Oh my God.
He hung himself and died by suicide using his belt.
How?
Thank you. How? So there was a whole investigation in it, and I don't know if you ever watched HBO Autopsy. That used to be my fucking jam. HBO had a show where they would do like autopsies, and it was like a female
forensic pathologist.
Forensic pathologist. And it was like a whole show, and they would talk about these like crimes and how the person died and stuff like that. And
bones.
Yeah. So they covered his case.
Really?
They covered how it could have been possible. So then, because the man died in police custody, they do an inquisition, right?
Sure, yeah.
And they look at the scenarios to see if the police were at fault or whatever. But police officers tested it, and it was possible for him to contortion himself and hang himself with his belt. So what he did was he got out of, like, he shimmied his way, the belt around his, like, neck or whatever. I don't know how the fuck he did it. And he kind of, like, hung his body. And, when you put pressure on your carotid artery, you can knock yourself out. Yeah. And if you keep pressure on there long enough, you fucking...
I just don't understand how you do that with your arms behind your back.
There was a whole show about it. So it turned out that, the police weren't at fault. And, there were questions because his family was like, well, how did you not know that he had died by suicide in the back of the van?
Yeah, because you said he was like flipping out.
Yes. But they were like, well, we don't check because whenever we check, we put ourselves at risk, as the police officers, because he was so combative.
Yeah, right. And they think they have him like secured in the van.
Yeah. And also, like, he had no shirt, no shoes, just the belt, and he's handcuffed behind his back. How the hell are you gonna?
Yeah.
So what he did was he just put the belt around his neck and leaned into it.
Yeah.
And died like that.
Fuck.
Yeah. He was like completely blue when they got to the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, and years later, I believe it was like 6 years later, on Ann's birthday, they indeed put a park in. One of Ann's old kids that she used to babysit or whatever donated 5 acres.
Wow.
And they put a park in that neighborhood, and they named it the Ann Hoover Park.
Wow.
Yeah, and they dedicated it on her birthday with cake and everything, and all the neighborhood people. So she got to see. She didn't get to see that happen, but it did happen because of her. Yeah,
I hate that.
And today the neighborhood is shitty.
Oh, fuck. It's because she wasn't there to.
And gentrification failed in that area.
Damn, what the hell?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. I was not expecting that.
You weren't expecting him to...
I wasn't expecting him to die at the end like that. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, he was fucking screaming it.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
That's fucking sad.
Yeah, well.
That's very sad.
Don't start a home improvement project. That's a check you ain't ready to cash.
No.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to not ever have to do that again.
Also, the three of us all have home improvement projects.
I'm like,
we're
I
all
can't,
in the middle of.
I can't stand it. Like, I truly... Like, I was washing dishes in my bathroom sink last night, and I was like, I hate this. I hate it. I hate this. I'm so mad about it. And, like, great, it looks beautiful, fine, wow, it's so good. I'm just so mad about it all. Like, I'm just like, this is too much. And every time someone's like, oh, this is how construction is, and, like, I'm surprised you even got it done in 7 months, or whatever. And I'm like, are you trying to die? Like, do you want a homicide? Like, I could arrange that for you.
All right, so what you have going on is what I created for myself, and I'm doing it myself.
Yeah, I think there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't
so
think...
cute because Russ's kid, his oldest, came in today, and, you know, we have them once in a while, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he has, visitation or whatever. So they come over, and they hadn't seen it in a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wow, you did this by yourself? And I was like, well, your dad helped, you know, because he's got to do all the heavy shit for me because I'm too weak. So I'm like, no, your dad helped. And he was like really impressed, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then David came over with his friend, and his friend Aiden, who doesn't, he just met me last year. He was just like, "Oh wow, you know how to do this stuff?" He's like, "Miss Apolloni, how do you know how to do this stuff?" And I'm like, "I don't know, I just picked it up." You know? And he was very impressed, and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not talented. I just,
No, it's a talent. It's a skill,
talent,
certainly.
and definitely a skill. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not working on a table saw. And I took carpentry in high school. I went through
But I feel like
shop.
if you had to, you would do it. If you had to,
but you don't have to.
I don't have to, but I like
That's the part that makes me be like, there's something wrong with you. Like,
I know.
This is not a way, like, an enjoyable way for you to spend your time. Like, you say, I enjoy it, but, like, I don't, I mean...
I enjoy it, and then again,
enjoy
I
it?
don't.
Do you? Yeah, like, come on.
I kind of,
is this,
I don't know.
Bringing you joy?
It's a complex situation.
Like, the way you talk about your hammock, that feels like true joy.
Yes, but I can't live in the hammock. I can't do the hammock 24 hours a day.
Bitch, you don't even... Okay, we're not going to do that.
No, we're not.
We're not going to talk you out of your mental illness tonight.
Our listeners deserve better.
Continue to love your table saw, Nydia, because I know you do.
Okay. So that's it for us on that note. I've been called out. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, subscribe so you don't miss out. We have merch. We have Patreon. We have Buy Me a Coffee. There's multiple ways that you can throw your money at us, like we're cheap whores.
Yeah.
Or you can write a review for free or share this podcast with someone. And honestly, that's really where God's footwork is.
Truly.
You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
All the socials.
Yeah, all of the socials, right? We're not anywhere else?
We're everywhere.
Okay, we're most places.
Yeah.
Check you out next week. And remember, do not get taken to that second location. Be good or be good at hiding the body. Cheers.
Are you okay?
Jesus Christ. Fucking loud.
You're disgusting, and I hate you both.
Holding my pee because I almost fucking peed myself.